Tonight's episode, That Was No Lady.
All right, had to do a thing here. So now we're starting this up. I don't know how late it was. I don't know how long that thing lasted. So I don't know if anybody's still around. We'll see. I don't know if you can hear me. We're gonna find out. And if anybody's got anything good to listen to, let's see. Doing chores. Let's do a twice on Tuesday. Which is there. I'm guessing you can hear me then. Coach Joe's out there. I could not play that. I believe it would be copyrighted, but I guess we'll just throw the link up there and see if anybody wants to jump in. And talk about 2A shit, not lame garbage or boring crap. And I'm going to work on doing this. Otherwise, I guess I'll just listen to the Gun Freedom Radio. I didn't listen to this one yet. It's 49 minutes long. Thing is, Gun Freedom Radio's audio's been messed up completely.
Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it on to our children in the bloodstream. The only way they can inherit the freedom we have known is if we fight for it, protect it, defend it, and then hand it to them with the well-taught lessons of how they in their lifetime must do the same. And if you and I don't do this, then you and I may well spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children what it once was like in America when men were free.
Brought to you by AVFirearms.com. Your nationwide I am one of your.
I don't know if you can hear this. I can barely hear. Now Dan is louder than Cheryl. How did that happen?
Is the Constitution still our North Star? And our guest is Michael Peruchka. Michael is a Maryland lawyer, the founder of the Institute of the Constitution. Michael once held a position in the United States Department of Health and Human Services. Was the Constitution Party candidate.
Yeah, exactly. You can never hear Dan. You can hear him better than Cheryl, but I don't know what's going on with their mics lately.
Welcome back to the show, Michael.
Well, Cheryl and Dan, it's an honor to be with you. Thank you for your hospitality. It's great to be back on Gun Freedom Radio.
Your name has been bubbling up to my mind so often in the past several months because it just like every single day there is something else that flies in the face of what our founders fought, bled, starved, and died to secure for us in our Constitution and our Bill of Rights. And I just feel like our values as a nation, our goals, and our direction has veered so far off of the roadmap. And I just do wonder, as I made the theme of the show, is the Constitution still our North Star?
Well, yes, it is, but we've got blinders on and we can't see it. Is really the trouble.
Can you hear okay?
I might say we are living, Cheryl and Dan, in an age of lawlessness, and I think what I've come to the conclusion is that this is not the result of people making a mistake or being negligent, et cetera. So this is an intended thing. This is a predetermined thing. This is an attack on America and on American culture and on the Constitution. well, since the beginning of our experiment in liberty back with our founders, there have been enemies of that, and they have used various methods and methodologies to try to undermine a system of government that is based on the idea that it's based on a biblical worldview, which means that man is a flawed creature, but God has given us rights, and it's the job of civil government to protect and defend those rights. So we have veered away from that. But is the Constitution still the North Star? Yes, because I sometimes attend meetings with officials, and when you bring up the Constitution, they seem to sometimes kind of laugh it off and go, "Oh, the Constitution. Well, good luck with that." Well, what are you using for a yardstick then? I mean, if you're going to throw that away, if you're going to jettison that, then you really have nothing to stand on to say that you have any rights or have any ability to enforce them, because the Constitution is the basis of the bargain, if you will. It is the deal, it's the compact, it's the contract that we have, that the people have with civil government. And it's as you of course know, it's a document that grants and entrusts enumerated and limited powers to certain people. And when they have jettisoned those and violated those with just terrible violence, it's the duty of the people to rise up against it and enforce that deal. Yes, it's the North Star. We better learn to navigate it and negotiate it again.
Well, unfortunately, our government and our schools are teaching kids to look down and not look up at their North Star.
What the hell did I do? Dang it.
They're not teaching them.
Well, they
So I just stuck all of that on top of the other layer. So I'll go in here and I'll lock these two down.
and it's commonly thought that schools are a terrible,
Highlight
terrible failure.
everything.
But if you read the
Cut it.
works and the writings of people like Horace Mann and Robert Owen and his
Lock
son
that
Robert
layer.
Owen and the next
Put it back
generation,
on this layer.
and
Drop
like
it.
Albert Combe, those people that actually developed and lobbied for and instituted the government school system in the
Where's that
1850s
even
and
copied like
60s,
that?
etc.
And then
Their
I guess I
objective
can lock
was
that.
to
But
do
now I can
exactly
go back in
what
here
has
and
done, they have done.
unlock those
Government
two.
schools are extremely effective and successful in what they tried to do, because their goal was to de-Christianize America
There we
and
go.
to separate American
What is
children
this?
from the values and principles that
Just
their parents held
delete
dear.
that.
That was the fun. People, if you think that they were about writing arithmetic, reading, or whatever, they were not. They were not. And
This
please
is
don't take my word for that, Cheryl, Dan,
Kim
and your
Rhodes.
audience. Please read the words of those
Kim
people
Rhodes, sorry.
and the works of those people who founded those schools. They have been a tremendous success they've been change agents to undermine American values, and they're still going at it so very, very strongly.
Five-time Olympic gold medalist, I think. Five-time? Am I crazy? I think she's five-time Olympic gold medalist, Kim Rhodes.
This ridiculous pandemic fraud.
How many dudes have
is
five
that-
gold medals?
Government schools closed. Praise God. The government schools closed. And these movements around here,
Does that
around
work?
my
Does it
neighborhood,
look
around
like her? Does it look like her?
as well, to reopen them
Really?
are, I mean, I just want to scream. They're nonsense. They're, no, leave them closed. That's the one silver lining in this, man.
Well, I find myself right in that tension between the two because during the time that they were closed,
Noses are the worst
I
part
was
of everything.
homeschooling my
Noses always
little,
suck.
granddaughter quite a bit, and I have to use that in the loosest terms because I'm not equipped for that. Now I could become equipped for that, right? And then when you're trying to do the online
All right, that's Kim Rhodes. I never met her, so that's what she looks like now. Let's just put it that way.
there was no schooling happening. That was
Everybody's this color, 'cause that's how I start out. I'm racist. Everybody starts out the same color to me. Everybody's same color to me.
exactly what you said. Why would I be fighting to put her back in the system that I think is polluting
That's
her
good.
mind?
There was a book written by a friend that I knew, and his name's going to come to mind in a minute. Moore, Tom Moore, I think it is. He wrote a book called Let My Children Go. And basically his theme was take your children out of Pharaoh's schools. Pharaoh is raising your children to hate your God and your God's ordained system of government and the principles under which you would claim that you have rights and the right to defend them. That's what these schools are doing. And I'm so glad, Shirley, you said that because and I'm not trying to chastise you. Please understand that. But when you say I'm not equipped, oh yes, you are. You are more equipped because Proverbs 1:7 says the beginning of knowledge
is probably perfect.
The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, the beginning of knowledge.
Oh my goodness! A lot of people can't deal with this much church stuff in the chat. It's unrelated or two-way related.
Children to love in the fear and admonition of the Lord. He gives that to parents. You have more in this little part of your little finger of talent and ability and equipment to do that job than any person from a government school. I used to have a pastor, excuse me for beating this to death, but I used to have a pastor who used to say, Michael, there's no right way to do a wrong thing. There's no right way to do a wrong thing. There is no right way for a government to teach your children. That's a job for moms and dad. Now, I'm a homeschool dad as well, and we use co-ops. Obviously, there's situations that you might not be an expert in teaching science or math or something, but there are people right next door, across the street, and down the road that know how to do that. But under your supervision, guidance, and tutelage, that's the key. Not under the tutelage of the state.
Well, what I've seen, okay, I've seen Phil move a little bit away, but I have talked to other parents and adults that have teenagers, and they're finding out with the kids being at home that the schools are not only not teaching the good stuff that needs to be taught, but they're teaching bad things. The parents are going, they taught you what? And now the
Can you hear Dan?
More than they had in the past.
Right.
Issue that has erupted across the nation, and the idea behind that, as I understand it, is that
That's what color her hair is now. So this is what I'm going to do this time. I haven't done this before, so this is an experiment. We're going to make a bunch of cookie cutters like this. Well, now they're getting into race. They're no holds barred on this show today. Ebony and Ivory. Holy moly! It was like the fifth video on MTV, I think. Was it the first sepia tone video ever made? It might have been. All right, so now you take a bunch of them, and then you go find them all. I don't know where they all are anymore. And there, and then you go to this, and then you go to this, and then boom.
This is not, of course, education at all.
I don't know if that's going to look good or not. She might look like an octopus for all I know.
The words critical race theory. What they're teaching us is to be critical.
Is this even unrelated? I'm about to turn it off.
Other races. This is the typical Marxist divide and conquer strategy. This is a class struggle. They're teaching us to hate each other and to line up against each other. But in the same way that they're teaching critical race theory for so they want blacks against whites or against whatever other color, greens against reds and blues and yellows, whatever. they're doing the same thing with respect to vaccinated and unvaccinated. They're trying to separate us into vaccinated. They're trying to divide us into groups where we fight and struggle with each other while that class or race struggle is going on. That's they're doing their evil
What the
thing.
hell is
They're
Olympic
controlling
blue?
us
I
all
guess I'm just going to go
with that
Such a horrible color.
idea. The critical race theory is a Marxist idea.
I guess I'll go with that
And again, to Dan's point, when parents see this,
So that was the
happening,
last layer, so it's on top. I always have to take it and drop it underneath all the other layers so that it's on the bottom, right? And then all the other layers, including my cookie cutters, all pop through now.
Dividing
And
people
we put
against themselves is a Marxist
drawings on
strategy,
here.
which separates us. You know, in my pastor this week, Pastor David Whitney, gave a sermon about Ruth and you know she and Boaz, who is of course Ruth came back, left her own people in her country, her mother and her father, to follow her mother-in-law Naomi back to her people. And so she was a stranger when she was gleaning from the field. I'm going to get too far into this, but when she was gleaning from the field, Boaz was not like her at all. He wasn't from her race, he wasn't from her culture, but he recognized her industry and her care and her concern for her mother-in-law. She recognized his authority, and even though they were from different races and different creeds, if you will, and actually had been brought up worshiping different gods, they worked together. They came together. This is exactly this is the biblical way to treat people and to bring people to the Lord. But what this Marxist thing is exactly the opposite of that. It's divide and conquer. The critical race theory is a dangerous thing to have children learn. It's a dangerous thing, and for me, I'm a little older than you are, but it seems so ridiculous to me. People from my generation, I would think, would scoff at it. But people who are coming up today, as you say, like the little birds, are regrettably are indoctrinated.
Well, they're teaching it in the news, they're teaching it in school, they're teaching it in government, sending the messages, and it's just the way it is. You know, if you hear it so often, it becomes true.
All right, so that one on top of her hair, it probably doesn't matter, but since I drew the other stuff first, I might as well drop it underneath of there. Is that done? Am I done? Let's go find out. Could be. She had darker hair, though. Maybe that color. Maybe she should consider dyeing her hair that color. Maybe she will.
What you just said, isn't that?
So now I take this, because I don't want to have to type unduly, and then I undo that. I lock the layer. I go to save and export it as, right? And then I go to where all the other ones are.
And to see it that other way is just a dark and desperate and deceived way to view things.
Right, and then I just find one. What the hell happened to Ida Wells? Let's go find Jane Lee Tobias. Grab the name, paste it as Kim Rhodes, and now there's Kim Rhodes. Boom. Now let's go open.
That's just one of many contradictions, is it not?
Eleanor Roosevelt and H.L. Richardson and Ida B. Wells and Knox Williams and where did he go? Philip Van Cleve. And is that all of them? And we'll see what's going on with these. Open. What the hell? Oh, look, now they're going to act like they're not being weird. So now we're going to say export as. Export it as a PNG. Yes. Oh, and look, Transparent, huh? So now it acts like it's fine. Like, oh, I was transparent the whole time. How about this guy? Export as your same name. Do I want to replace it? Yes. As transparent? Okay. Now I'm not crazy, so I'm not going to go do this all for everybody until I try to open. Who did I just do? Philip Van Cleve?
Well, Cheryl and Dan, we have to be, we didn't set a mouthful there. We have to
Oh,
be
yeah, look,
worthy
I changed
of
it.
liberty.
Who was the other one?
Worthy of liberty, we have to understand its principles.
Changed
And we have
somebody
to
else
understand.
too.
You know, many people, you know, there's been such violence by these
All right, it
governors
looks like
done
that
to
works.
not only the
So
United States
we're
Constitution,
gonna
but their
save
state
her.
constitution.
Who's Ida
This
B.
is an
Wells?
example.
Who knows who Ida
In my
B.
state
Wells
of
is?
Maryland, there's Article 44 of our Declaration of Rights that says that the Constitution
Ida B.
of
Wells is
the
pretty
United
fucking
States
awesome,
and of this state are apply as well in time of war as in time of peace, and no deviation therefrom or violation thereof.
Who
Under the
knows
plea
who
of necessity
H.L.
or any other
Richardson
plea.
is?
Under the plea of necessity or
Export
any other plea is
as.
valid. Nothing could be more on point. I mean, so
Yes.
the pandemic is not over the Constitution as they've led us to believe. The
Who know who
Constitution is over the
Eleanor
pan-
Roosevelt?
is
Well,
over
why
the
is she
pandemic.
in my 2A
It's
list?
in difficult
Export
times like this
as.
when we absolutely need to follow the law, not to jettison the law.
And now I
So the
should
same thing is
have
true in this,
a bunch of
with respect
transparent
to the
gifts
Second
instead of a bunch of non-transparent
People
weird
many
gifts.
people have bought guns.
Let's save this right away.
Well, that's because they innately.
I'll pause that. We're about halfway through that. I don't even know if you could hear it because I don't know if anybody's been giving me feedback on it. Oh, crap. And now I have to go close this, which is what I'm really doing. The live is just fake. Boom. So now I can close that. I can go over here and you see what's happening? See how this is rendering? You see this is happening right now? Boom. This is real. This isn't fake like one of them scripted things that other people do. Drawing Kim Rhodes, and then boom. So that's the actual file that I'm making right now, was that file. This live business is fake. Not scripted type of fake, but it's not what I'm doing. I'm really screen capturing with this software. So I have this screen capture software running. I have this Adobe Illustrator running, and I've got the Canadian Duck running. Do I have other things running? That's my business. But those are the three things that you know about running. NAACP co-founder. Nobody I'd mentioned is definitely nobody I mentioned is that. So, oh, I'm sorry. Did I forget to offer a warning about the wideness of my screen? I apologize. I forget that regular people have regular size screens and I have this incredibly wide screen. I didn't mean to scare anybody or freak anybody out on a Sunday. All right, we're going to go back and try to read the comments in this order. So I remember DJ saying this. Oh, wait, what's going on with this? What is your opinion is a Honda Ridgeline a truck? I don't know what a Honda Ridgeline is. Is a Honda? Oh, you mean like the automobile Honda? I guess it's a truck. It's a weird truck. I don't think I'd buy one. Would anybody buy this? Yes or no? I guess you could say, yes, I would buy a Honda Ridgeline, or no, I would not buy a Honda Ridgeline. And that way, well, no, that would be your indicator. This was Kim Rhodes. I believe she's 5-time Olympic champion. Inspiration for a bunch of people. Shotgun people. With the limitations of the origin. I don't know what that is. I don't know what this is. What is this? Oh, here's the thing about Kim Rhodes. Right on. 6-time Olympic medal. Holy crap, I'm an idiot. 6 times. I don't even have 1 Olympic medal yet. She's got 6 already, including 3 gold. 6 Olympic medals, including 3 gold medals and 6-time national champion. Okay. So I got it all mixed up, but still more gold medal, well, more medals than most people have. golf carts. Maybe I'm missing something. Barbecues out there. That dude does shows. I more or less lead a car with some truck capabilities, but trucks are expensive these days. Yeah, I don't know. This is a tough situation to be buying a vehicle in, it sounds like, because of the manipulation that's taken place. I definitely don't believe it has anything to do with the news stories I keep hearing almost identically from multiple sources, as if they're trying to create a narrative. But I believe the result is that it's difficult to obtain vehicles right now. Is there a reason you do not have her cheek lines on her face? Maybe I'm just being impatient. I don't put cheek lines in because I think I make people look super fat that way. But I'm not saying I'm good. I'm only just making consistent stuff for my purposes here, right? I needed Kim Rhodes because I included some other Olympic champions, Olympic gold medalists. Our first Olympic gold medalist, who's a chick, and then I think it was the first Olympic medalist. See, when you're in the Olympics, because you're not, let's say you're in the Olympics, but you don't get a gold medal, you're still going to be like, I got medaled. And that's just a way of acting like you got a gold medal, even though you didn't get a gold medal yet. So the first Olympian to medal in guns is a girl, or the girl is in there. And I think she's from Montana, but I can't remember her name. And then the other one is the first gold medal. And then Kim is like the one that's still shooting, I think. The other ones have retired and they're just being people now. So anyway, I've been wanting to put Kim there for a while, and I've got a whole bunch I'm working on right now. So I did Chris earlier. Next will be, we got a couple of choices. Judy Wells. We got Matthew, basically the FPC lawyer, so the dude from Floodbusters. We got Bill Sack, who's the one that doesn't have another thing, and then the guy from Legally Armed. I did Chris Chang, but I didn't like it, so I might do Chris Chang again. Then we got Guns for Everyone. No, we got Guns. Yeah, Guns for Everyone. And then How I Carry and Melody Lauer and Lee Juris. Who knows who Lee Juris is? One of you people might know. You're not 2A enough to know who those other people are, but you might know who Lee Juris. Juris? I don't know how to say that name. Who that guy is. It's a dude. So, because you're all sexist, you won't know who any of the girls are. But you're also not 2A enough probably to know who all these other people are, but you might know who that guy is. Let's see. I'm looking at either a Ranger, Colorado, Ridgeline, or Tacoma. I really don't know what any of those are yet. I think I have heard good things about a Tacoma. I don't think I've heard good things about Rangers. Garbage Cast, yeah, audio wise, yeah, it's driving me nuts. But mainly because I try listening outside when I'm doing my gardening, and so I turn it up, walk outside, I hear nothing while they're talking, super loud guest. So if I try to turn it up so I can hear them, my neighbors hear the guest, right? Rangers had a lot of friends, lots of their. Oh, I used to have a Ranger and I thought it was amazing. I really, 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 really liked it. But I've said that to somebody and they said that they're not that way anymore. I think. Seems like very partisan political talk. I don't know about partisan. It was certainly religious. And then, well, I guess it was probably going partisan. I don't know if it actually got there, but I was also paying attention when I was drunk. Yeah, they were all over the map. But at the same time, there's people that I've listened maybe today. No, not today, but recently, really recently, I listened to people, you know, the whole stay in your lane thing. I've heard people that are like, you know, you can't ever talk about anything. And what good is that? Nobody wants to live in some weird sterile robot world where nobody offends anybody because no one says anything to anybody, right? So I don't mind listening to the stuff, but I understand when it's going to trigger. Unfortunately, I understand how many of the people are going to be triggered by that kind of stuff. The same people that'll be like, you can't be triggered by what I like, will get triggered by what they like, right? What state are you in? You know who this is. This is Erstwhile. I don't know why he's got that name up, but that's Erstwhile. It's going to be a personal vehicle, blah, 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 and then Tacoma. I had a lease for a while, and I only liked having a lease when I worked at AOL. And then I feel like the lease was too expensive unless you had money pouring in. I think if you have money pouring in and you're going to be pouring money onto a vehicle anyway, then I can see where leases work. But otherwise, I'm not a fan of leases when you don't have money. This always agrees with Clover. Whatever Clover says, you know Wood's going to agree with it. Clover could say, mint tastes like syrup. And Peon Woods would be like, I agree with you, Clover. Pro tip, you say natural, you won't necessarily distance, word matters. Okay, so here's a thing for people that have some repellent need to make other people stop saying what they feel like. Guess what? They're allowed to say what they want, and you can choose to not be offended by it. And here's another warning. The screen is wide, probably wider than you're used to. I apologize ahead of time. But that part was definitely weird. I don't know who this guy is. Do you know who Michael Peruta? A Maryland lawyer, founder of the Institute on the Constitution. So I don't even know what that is. Uh-oh. How far back am I? Holy moly, I'm way far back. DJ's marrying somebody. Somebody got married. They were talking about religion. All of a sudden, there's I do's going back and forth. I don't know what kind of weird stuff goes for official like relations in these chats, but I think it just happened. Oh my goodness. And people say nothing interesting happens in a live chat anymore. Only the scripted chats are worth watching. Nobody writes a good live chat no more. Let's see. She carried once she drove to an event with a revolver beside her on the seat. Oh, you're talking about Eleanor Roosevelt. Yeah. Eleanor Roosevelt, I'm pretty sure, was like, I'll do what I feel like. And to that extent, she carried around her own gun. I don't believe she invented the NAACP, but I don't know. Maybe she did. I don't know which one you're talking about because of the crazy way that this thing's being weird. So that could mean any of the trucks that you talked about earlier. There's a cool memorial to Kim Rhodes in Hollywood. Interesting. In Holly Springs. I don't know where that is. I'm considering it less than $40,000. I would get used and then wail on it. I bought a new truck when I was a dumbass kid once, and I never bought anything new ever again. I would not buy a Honda Ridgeline. I don't remember anybody coming up to me and being like, hot damn, my Honda truck is the shit. Like, I've never heard that sentence ever said. I'd go Ranger. This dude's into Rangers. I don't know. I thought I just heard somebody complaining about a Ranger. Okay, now I've got it. So, cream to mint is pretty close to menthol, and I'm pretty sure that's illegal. I don't think we're allowed to talk about that. Dude's cooking bacon somewhere. I don't know. Well, probably because of the YouTube. Oh, you know what it is? When you're on the YouTube, let's say that you're on the YouTube. Let's just say that you're on the YouTube like this. And then let's just say you wanted to switch accounts. Is my screen still sharing? Yeah. Then you click on this. You go to switch account. You're probably not going to have as many things listed here because I'm a big deal channel. When a big deal channel shows you stuff, you're going to see stuff you're not used to. But you might have a thing here that says switch account. And then you're going to get a list of accounts, and you can probably flip to the other one. That's what I'm thinking. Next. So did anybody pick anybody? I don't think anybody picked anybody. Supervel. Oh, look who figured out who Lee Jarris is. Who figured that out? DJ? DJ figured it out. So look at this dude over here who's probably sleeping. I don't know if it's bedtime or what. This dude acts like he knows all about ammunition. Oh, I know all about the weird stuff. I know all about this or that. So he didn't know who invented the Supervel. All right, so this guy here acts like he's a hunter. I go hunting all the time. I'm hunting all the time and things. Yeah, maybe it's for ducks or whatever. But he didn't know who Supervel was either. This dude did. So now who knows what Supervel even means and what's the significance of it? Probably nobody. But we'll do that guy next, I guess. I never heard of him until the other day, but now I'm an expert on him. And I know more than you people, so that means I'm a genius on it. All right, so next is what it looks like. And I put everybody next to Kellyanne because that's what I started with. And then I go back up to this dude and unlock him. That allows me to move his layer around. I'm going to stretch him to where his eyes are about as wide apart as hers. And since that's about there, that makes his head look goofy small. So now I'll make his head look a little bigger. And I know that those two will never fit together. Like they are always going to be wrong. But that's about similar in the main scheme of things. So I'll go back and click her picture off. It's still there. It's just turned off. Now I go up to his and select, copy and paste, put it next to there, drop that down by about 50%-ish, lock that layer, take his name, paste it the first time, and write lines, because that's where I'm going to write the lines, and then I paste it a second time and write color. For probably no reason. In case this ever gets screwed up and I move something over here, it allows me to put these back in some order, but it's basically wasted time. But if you're at a 9 to 5 and you're trying to melt the clock, you could justify that to a supervisor. All right, so next we're going to zoom in on the layer that says lines, and I'll zoom in. Oh, and you know what I forgot? Is what I'm really doing here is this. So we're going to hit record. Oops, and then move that out of the way. So this is recording the screen, just like you people are watching the screen, but really I'm recording the screen. And now I'm going to go back to the one thingy and flip it from, this is the center of the thing, and this is the edges of the thing. So I want the center to be empty and the edges to be a color. And then I'm on the lines layer, and then I've pretty much been starting with people's eyes. And then like this, and then you got, oops, you got two eye kind of things going there. Could also be two horseshoes. And then draw some lines like this. And then sometimes I'll put an eyebrow in. But if he looks like evil or weird or surprised or something, then I'll usually change it. In this case, maybe that's enough. It's hard to say. So you definitely don't want one full eyebrow and one little dinky eyebrow. So we'll get rid of that one. And maybe do the same thing. Put a little thingy there. Pretty much a third of the way up of the mouth without making him look like he's weird is the way to go. So not quite a straight line, but not a curvy line. And then not an angle, but also not an angle. And then you got a face. It's pretty easy. I don't know why everybody does in cartoon. It's pretty simple. And then you just start drawing his hair. And then you go, nope, not his hair. I'm going to draw his neck. And then you go, nope, not his neck. I'll stop. And then you start over here and you go, I'll draw down. No, it's wrong. It's like a root or something. So now we'll go. The hard part is you want to go out with his forehead at the same time showing that his hair is there. So that means it's not quite a straight line, but it kind of is. And then you kind of want to allow the thing to bump and move with his face and then come up. But then the trick is, stupid Adobe is going to snap it, right? See how it smoothed it all up? So that's the trick, is getting the hang of where it's going to snap it. The other trick is not caring at some point that this doesn't look like this dude, because I've never met him. I don't think he's alive anymore. And if he is, he probably doesn't care what I draw a cartoon of him as. And as long as he doesn't look like Mr. Peanut or something, I don't think anybody's gonna be too concerned. And at least it's some representation of what the dude looks like. And I'm guessing this is in the 70s, and this is the kind of thing people did to themselves back then with their hair. And he's got his ear somehow sticking out of here. I don't know what the hell's going on with his ear. And then you draw the top of the hair, and then the top of their hair, like that. And maybe the thing, and then make a thing and around. I don't know. People in the 70s were weird. And then the collar, the thing going down, and that's not technically accurate, but at this point, I doubt anybody's going to line up these two pictures and grade me on it, so I'm just going to wing it. Throw that around, and over there. Other side of the collar, one button. This guy doesn't deserve one button. Shoulder thing that, made a shoulder thing go up. Shoulder thing that goes slopey, so it doesn't look weird. And then I always put the nose in last because that's sort of like the part that ruins it, every single one. So if you ruin it at the end, it's less frustrating. Does that not look like him? That's exactly him, right? It's basically like, his mom got confused right there. So again, there's no way I'm paying more attention to this one than that. Flipping out of that mode into this color skin, because literally everybody has this color skin. And then we start bringing skin on. If you start at the top of their head and then you go around, that's a way to do it. You don't have to do it that way, but I don't know if anybody else is even doing this. So we'll see if anybody else ever does one of these. What would it be like if everybody started doing these, and then instead of talking about what new crap people bought, people were talking about what new creative thing they were doing to amplify Second Amendment projects and history. And then people started to appreciate that. And then people started to, spend more time doing it. Then other people put their creative efforts into doing the same. And then Second Amendment history and the activists of today would just be like common knowledge, like household names and stuff that they've accomplished, and all the potential and everything would just be there in the vernacular. And then it would be building on that instead of first trying to make people realize that there's people like the DC Project or what's that one called? I can't ever remember, TWAT. What the heck? I can't remember that one. And then you got A Girl and a Gun, which I keep talking about the DC Project because I dig the DC Project so much. But Girl and a Gun is way bigger, like freaking way bigger, like 400 chicks showing up in Denver to train. Like I just had a chat this morning where I had to fight tooth and nail with a bunch of people because they hate training so much. And then at the same time, a bunch of dudes are complaining and trying to complain about how come they hate training so much. There's like 400 chicks just getting together and training. It's crazy. So anyway, how cool would it be if people spent a bunch of time caring about the actual stuff that happens? I was watching some shitty movie. Holy crap, was it shitty? And for one thing, like all the soldiers had clean uniforms constantly before and after battle, never had a dirty uniform or a worn out uniform. That's always authentic. And then, they proceeded to show you all this garbage tactics and garbage, like strategy, I guess, garbage intent, like garbage abilities of these people. Just fake, right? Just garbage. So anyway, instead of watching that kind of stuff, what if they actually showed real stuff, like the actual accomplishments, people that are doing amazing stuff, and then gave that amazing stuff that's happening the value or the worth, gave it the value, I guess, of what it's worth. Yeah, it'd be a whole different thing, different appreciation out there, right? Different level of appreciation. All right, so next, see everything's tan because that's the color of all skin. And then you just start grabbing hair colors. And since it's going to grab from like basically a big wide area, that's close enough. You just keep poking until you find the right one. I usually go to a place where the light is hitting the guy, the girl. And this one ain't working. It's not that color. For some reason, he insists on being a different color than this. But guess what? That's close enough. Like I say, I'm not even sure this guy's ever going to... This guy might not even see this cartoon. It's possible this guy won't see this cartoon. He is going to wear that color shirt. And since I always put the shirt almost always on last. That's right. I draw them naked, and then I put their shirt on last. Should I leave his collar orange? No, that's weird. So we'll make that the same color as his shirt. Ugh. Now I have to go over here and grab this one and make it the same color as his shirt. But now I can grab this one and go to the color thingy and say, just be a little bit darker than the rest. And now he has a different color collar. Boom, that's easy. Well, for some reason, I don't think he had orange eyes, so we'll change the eyes to, I would say try to pull him out of here, but it's going to be tough. Oh shit, I just did it. That's close enough. Boom, that guy's done. That's the guy that invented Super Val. Let's see if anybody knows who Super Val even is. Lee Juris. Export as. We'll grab Kraut and zap his name out of there. And when you replace his name, it's still gonna, I just grabbed this guy's name. I could have grabbed anybody's name. And then it would try to save as, it would try to replace that guy. Instead, I'm gonna change the name. And now it's just gonna lay it down as a separate file. And this is a preview of it. So it's gonna lay down this without any background. And almost always in software, when you see that checkerboard, it's indicating a transparent background. That's what this little drop down is indicating also. So now we have, if I were to open my group of files, what's this guy's name? Lee. I have to go through alphabetically into the L's, through the hundreds of cartoons that we've drawn like this online. To the L's, hey look, there's Kim that we just did a second ago. And then we would find Lee Jarris right there, right between Lauren Hartnett and Liberty Doll. And Liston Matthews and Larry Pratt, and Logan and Laura, and Maj and Knox Williams, and so forth. All right, now we'll jump back over here. Cooking bacon. Ida Wells in Holly Springs, Mississippi. Ah, okay, nice. Isn't Ida Wells a rifle above, a rifle on every wall? Pretty sure that's Ida. Pretty sure she's, no, I'm getting her mixed up with the other chick. So yeah, Ida was the rifle on every wall or something like that, I think. Oh, Judy next? All right, we'll do Judy after that. Super velocity, yes, that's what Super Vel is. And I never knew that. I thought Vel was some lady's name, but it turns out it's super velocity. This sounds like an amperage. If I buy the Ridgeline, I'm definitely going to go around saying that. Super Val, hot stuff, ammo that expanded. Kind of. You're getting there. Does the Ridgeline have a truck frame? I have a Honda Passport. It's built on a Ridgeline frame. I'm going to not use what do you call it? A vaccination passport joke because I'm probably not allowed to say that on the live show. I'll grade you. What are you grading me for? Next. Maybe draw Ava. Who's Ava? Maybe put a Super Val logo on his shirt. Oh, that's cheating. People don't know who he is. That's their problem. So what's so good about Super Val? It shouldn't be that hard to figure out. I figured it out. But yeah, you guys are right. Super Val. This guy invented super velocity ammunition in what, 1960? I think. That could give you a clue. So you said Judy next. So who's Judy? Judy Wells. Who knows who Judy Wells is? Boom, that's what she looks like in one picture that I found. So let's see, I go Judy Wells color. And we wrote Judy Wells lines. All right, next we got to open up Kelly. See, this gives me a consistent head and face to go off of every time to compare each with. And then that way, click on the button, unlock the layer, and then that way they're all, semi-consistent. That's actually pretty close. I'm gonna leave it right where it's at. So now we can make the Kelly disappear again. Go back up here. Oh snap. I forgot to go in and hit stop recording on the last guy. And that means I need to go find my folder where all these things live and go find that guy's name again, because I'm not going to. What the hell is that noise? Did you hear that? That was interesting. I'm going to go grab a gun and go outside. Let's write drawing. That dude. And that. If there was a way to pause live video, I would pause live video. Just assholes. Sounded like somebody who was beating a dog. I don't know if you could hear that or not. Hollow points. Getting closer. Getting closer. What was I doing? So now I'm gonna hit record. This is what I'm really doing here. Get the next one going. Get this out of the way. Get Adobe Illustrator back up on the screen. So now you got two questions out there if you are willing to accept the challenge, and that would be to figure out what is so good about SuperVal, and then what's so good about Judy Wells. And boom. What's weird is that I knew somebody who had the same name who isn't the same person. So it's weird for me to keep saying this when it's not the person I know. I'm almost 1,000% positive it's not the same person I know. I guess it is. Wait, no, it can't be possible for it to be the same person. Definition. Oh, you put in the definition of. I mean, you're putting the link to the ATF. That doesn't look like the right one. Is that a working link? That looks like a link to something else. I thought the one had a bunch of zeros and ones in it. The last time I looked, it was up to, I forget how many, 380 or no, 480? What's happening? What's happening? I'm clicking the wrong button. I need to click this button to get this YouTube video to pop up on this screen so that I can go find this link and use that button. Go to this. Come on. Come on. This is the link that I would. Come on. How many links do we have to click on here? Where's the link to the actual thing? Submit your comment online. Lame. Then you have to click that, I guess. This is the link that I would drop because people are lazy. Boom. The changes in the submission page. Yeah, I hear you. Okay. So anyway, that's what DJ's talking about. Oh, it's still at 4:39. So I guess that's because I looked on Friday and they haven't done any over the weekend, which makes sense. So 439 comments. in the first 2 days. Actually, in the first day, because they've been submitted the last couple of days, but none have been processed, none have been put through. But yeah, thanks for throwing that link out there. Has nothing to do with Judy Wells, of course, but whatever. So now I have to go over here and I'm just going to delete this. Wasting my video. See, this one's going to render, but it's worthless, so I'll just delete it. Move this out of the way. Start recording, because this is what I'm really doing, and then go back to drawing this video. Anyway, else tried the light phone. What does that mean? I don't know what a light phone is. Is that like a lightsaber? I feel like if you had a phone made out of a lightsaber, it would be dangerous, and I would not let children use it. Yeah, I don't like doing it that close. Seems too hard, too difficult. Wow, she does not have that different of eyes, does she? So this is where I wish I had a pencil once in a while, or a drawing pad, or whatever the thing's called. Ugh, that's tough. This is tough. All right, I'm going to take both of those and that. It's really difficult drawing these little tiny circles and making people not look weird and stuff. And I think the only way you can do that and not do it is to just not pay attention, because you're always going to make people look weird. So you just have to get used to not caring or not knowing what people look like, and then just doing whatever you're going to do anyway. All right, so now she has the same hair that what's her face has, so we'll just do the exact same hair as her. And she has, I think that's an earring. And I guess that's her ear. And she has a head, and her hair goes like that. I guess. I'm stupid, so I'm just doing it like that. So I think I dropped a link out here before. Nobody jumped in, so that's why there's going to be a bunch of dead air. I was listening to Freedom Radio a minute ago, but freaked a bunch of people out, and there was a bunch of sayings and chaos out there, and just a real drama. So I stopped listening to it, and the problem is now I'd have to go figure out, oh, look what I just figured out. I'd have to go figure out what to actually listen to. So I've listened to most of it, and I don't have anything queued up. So I'm not blaming the people that don't jump in for the dead air, but you can. I'm gonna continue. See, some people have simple hair. Some people are bald, and when people are bald, it makes it a lot easier for me. Other people, it's not always women, but let's just admit that it's always women, insist on having fancy hair that's always different. Ugh. And for cartoonists, you don't know the struggle. I have to wiggle and squiggle all around and figure out how to draw everybody's hair. Nobody ever gives us any credit for being the real heroes of 2A. Ugh, look at this. I think that looks weird. It looks like a caterpillar. I think I ruined it. And when you talk about it, it's even more weird to draw somebody's hair. So if you're going to start drawing hair live, as a cartoon at least, I wouldn't talk about it. I would talk about something else when you're doing that part. It was really weird. Made it really difficult. In this case, I think she looks now like, what's the Charlie's Angels blonde? Except for her nose. I just ruined her nose. But doesn't she look like Charlie's Angels girl? Cheryl, no. Yeah, Farrah Fawcett. I just drew Farrah Fawcett accidentally. So every part of her face is looking that way, and now all of a sudden her nose ain't looking that way. Now I got to make her nose look this way. I've never made a nose look that way. Is that even possible? Is this legal? I don't know. Is that her? I'm done. No, she had no chin. I forgot about her whole entire bottom of her face. So most of the time you can just kind of start around their ear. And as long as you include their chin and cheeks, that technically counts as a human. So you're done. So now we're done. Oh yeah, that's Judy. Like again, her husband would be confused and walk into the wrong room because of this cartoon. It's that good. Let's see, which skin color? All skin color is the skin color. Go like this. I don't know if I start at the top because it's faster, it's right there, or if it's like, if you're going to open up a banana, you would start at the top, so it makes sense to start your cartoon coloring at the top. Or if it's a gravity thing, but since there's no gravity on a computer screen, that doesn't make any sense. So you could probably start wherever you want, but just start at the top. You don't have to start with skin color, I guess. It's not a law or anything. Everybody does, but you don't have to. And then we're going to go to, I like to go to the eyes next, especially if they have glasses, because otherwise you got to fiddle with layers and do the, you got to fiddle with what goes in front of what. So with this, if I were to do her earrings next, I'd have to move the hair around them. So instead, I'll start at the top, traditionally, and then go down like this and cover the earring. What? Yeah, cover the earring. Not cover the face or the shirt though. So let's go back and just cover the, because this is hair. We're just covering the earring and hair. All right, so now you get to this line that's just by here by itself. Look what I'm going to do. I'm doing this. It's happening. A little anchor, a wicked curve, other curve, and then that just happened. Yeah, there's no line down there. Same thing here. Look at, boom. I don't know if that's going to work. It might look like a caterpillar. Well, we're all done. Over here, like this, pop it out to there. And you don't have to connect every piece of outline to every piece of other outline. The problem is it won't be a coloring book when you're all done. I figured out that if I keep these things too separate from each other, then it just looks like a bunch of spaghetti until it's colored. Once it's colored, it comes together. So if you were going to do something and you wanted dual use as a coloring book, don't be so stylistic with the lines, and make sure all your lines attach to each other, that every little section is covered and filled in with boundaries. And it's basically like a watercolor or paint by number. Oh, does that work? There's no way to make that work. So I screwed up that. We'll go backwards one. You can, that bell had nothing to do with anything on where that came from. The Control Z is, undo, and that works in this software as well. I don't know if I like that or not. I like that, but it doesn't match the other side, so it ain't gonna fly. It ain't sticking. Why is that noise happening? What are you people doing to my computer? Something happening? Okay, that's being annoying. That's like oh, you know what it is? This wire is going bad. That almost did the exact same thing. So at this point, I'm done. I'm falling into the trap of talking about it too much. This is weird. I don't know how instructors do it. Being a teacher is easy. Anybody can do it, right? We all know that. But I don't know how teachers can talk and do things at the same time. Even though everything the teacher does is easy, that almost seems very difficult. All right, so next we're going to go to the earrings, which are going to go on top of the hair, right? Because we already drew the hair. So now the earring, I'm going to have to shift around layers. I'm basically saving myself time in the future. If you save yourself enough time in the future, you don't even need to do things today. Just saying. So I'm going to zip up around the other side of her neck here. Why am I doing it this way? This is a dumbass way to do it. So undo, 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 undo. Start with their collar, jump to the other collar, jump to her shoulder, push that out like there somewhere. Push it from here, maybe? And then up into here. I don't like that. And then attach. And what you're only worried about is what this bottom part's going to look like, right? So next, let's see what we're talking about. So I'll change the color of that to, can't do white because it's always going to be on white. So you can go kind of white. Kind of white. This would be it's too close to white. So we're going to go with that color. And that's the shirt. So we're putting our shirt underneath of everything. Now that it's underneath of everything, it created our collar and I don't know what to call this, her frame, like the bottom of her hair, whatever. So that's all we really cared about. This top part didn't matter. As long as it was up underneath of all these other colors, that's all that mattered. So now I may go in and change the color of her collar. Actually, I won't. I'm just going to do this. Under, and then do something weird like that. And then change the color of that piece. Basically, just take the color it is and make it a little darker. Now that gives a little bit of a fold, a little bit of dimension without going nuts. All right, so now all the colors are there. They're just all the same color. So we grab her face color and grab all of these. Boom, that looks not weird, so we'll keep that one. Are her eyes really brown? Does anybody know? Judy Wells' eye color? How 2A are you, really? Seriously, how 2A can you possibly be if you don't know this chick's eye color? I don't know if they're blue. I'm going to make them brown. And guess what? If they're wrong, I can go into this file and edit the color of that particular two little blips over here on this layer. But for now, I think they are brown. So I'm going to leave them brown. And I transparencied them if you couldn't tell, because that's a quicker way or a different way to get a lighter brown. And now I'm going to grab our hair color off of a picture. Too dark. You can't see the highlights anymore, my outlines and stuff. So that would be the exact same color as her eyes, which, I don't know. Is it legal for people to have same color eyes and hair? I don't know. I'm going to go a little bit more transparency just so that I don't break any kind of rules or anything. There. And her ears, or I mean her ear rings, are just whatever color we started with. I'm going to make them yellower. So yellower, is that color yellower? Yellower enough, right? And now we compress everything, remove that bottom. See if it's complete first off, and I sloppied it up. I sloppied it up pretty good, so we're going to zoom in and go to this tool, which is going to show us every individual, whatever these things are called. I don't know what these are called. Points or boxes. So you can wiggle them around, do whatever you want with them. You know, I think this, no, that wasn't supposed to be your ear. Was it? This was supposed to be your ear. So this can move over a little bit. See, I highlighted this color, highlight this color. I can move the little thingies on this. Transform handles. That's probably eyebrows. Look at Sneggy over here. Where'd her layer go? Going back to here. So I go back to the layer with the lines. I remove the layer with the color and I add the picture back again. Yes, I definitely probably should add some eyebrows. Some people don't have any eyebrows and she does have eyebrows. So I'll put some eyebrows back in. So we're not even on that layer. So I have to find the layer. Now I'm on the layer. And then easiest thing to do is just touch an existing line that you want to emulate. And then that in Adobe Illustrator, at least, it brings you back to that tool. It's supposed to have brought me back to that tool. It didn't. So anyway, so if I just draw her eyebrow, I don't think that looks good. Right? Like just like that, I think that looks good. Actually, doesn't look that bad. So you can do the little mini eyebrows. That's what I do usually. So there. Mainly because our brains know what an eyebrow is and we get the idea. And I don't think that worked as good. So guess what? Undo, 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 boom. That's how you go back in time. And that's why people that work computers are better than everybody else, because we can go backwards and forwards in time at our discretion, at our will, let's say. Does that work for you? Also drop a link. Oh, I already did. I'll drop it again for you people that refuse to scroll backwards or whatever. Boom. No, Tulsi I would spend more time on. We'd spend a lot of time to make Tulsi make it active. This is Judy Wells, and that's one of the questions for the chat, to find out if you know who Judy Wells even is. All right, so I'm going to go in here and edit up her hair a little bit. Good evening. After watching your backyard the other day, I went around horking a bunch of them succulents off of people. I've been horking succulents all weekend. I got a whole backyard full of succulents. It's awesome. I didn't pay a dime for them either.
Nice. How's it going, man?
Pretty good. Do you know who Judy Wells is?
I do not know.
All right, you can stay.
Can I guess?
What?
Can I guess it's something with the DC project?
No. Well, you can guess. You'd be super wrong. Maybe you're right, but I think you're super wrong. I don't know. I have to go look. I just learned about her the other day. I'm pretty sure she's. I forgot who she is actually. I'm gonna have to go look. Thanks for jumping in though, because talking shit for a long time gets boring and difficult. So appreciate somebody else being in here. Mainly just need to get some of these done for the projects, and I think it's boring just doing them sitting here by myself. So I figure if I can go live, then let people hang out.
Yeah, man, I can't talk with myself for more than like 5 minutes. I don't know how some people put on a full like hour-long show. Trying to read comments and talk at the same time is very challenging for me.
I mean, if that's what your role in life, like you're into it, like yeah, I could guess that would be awesome, right? But yeah, I'm the same way. Like that is not interesting to me. Like I'm not interesting to hear my own voice, so it doesn't appeal to me or whatever. But I'm also using it as an opportunity to narrate to the one person in the world who might be interested in how to do stuff like this, so that they can see how I do it at least. As far as when I was kind of narrating the steps here to go along. Back in the olden days, Smeggy can remember this. Maybe other people here can. Maybe. I'm trying to think. Maybe this dude who just jumped in. But the rest of you probably are 2A old enough to remember back when I used to do the 2A media workshops. And that was thanks to Patreons for 2 years, every Tuesday and Thursday. I invited pretty much everybody you ever heard of who never joined to jump in. I mean, they would maybe occasionally one person would jump in once in a while. People like Smeggy and regular people jumped in all the time. But we would do different tasks and the bigger projects like this in front of everybody. And as a way to make it not super boring to do all this stuff, but also so that people could see, oh, I need to turn this off. Hold on. So that people could see how the as what's his face would say, as the gummy bears are made, so that you can see how the software works, and then hopefully you start applying it, doing stuff with it. Yeah, all right. So anybody figure out who Judy Wells is yet? I don't know if you guys
I saw a comment say something about she's a writer, but I don't know.
That was me.
I think she's growing a gun, but I'm gonna go double check. Oh, that's Smeggy jumping in. It's a smartphone with no internet and no app store. Ooh, what are we talking about?
That light phone thing.
Oh.
I don't know. I heard you guys talking about it when I first jumped in.
Okay.
And you're like, oh, is it a saber with a phone or whatever? And then I think that was the follow-up to that.
Oh, okay. Then yeah, I'm down for that. I'm definitely gonna be looking into that. I think one of the biggest problems we have are the little pieces of Skynet that we pay way too much money to drag around with us. People don't even realize the implications. Like I get scared every time I dig into the implications of what 5G is gonna bring. It's crazy, crazy, crazy. Go figure out what a botnet is and be scared shitless like me of what the future is going to bring. Light phone has a Kindle type e-reader screen. They say it's for people who don't want to use it. Interesting. Oh, you mean like a different type of regular screen than a regular screen? I don't know about that part of it, but for carrying around, I'm definitely looking for an alternative phone to carry around, something that is not 5G for damn sure. I think the intended purpose is not to have the internet at your fingertips. Exactly. Like the thing I carry around is no longer going to be a smart device. I don't mind having a smart device, but it'll live in a drawer at home. When it'll live where I want it to live. I will no longer carry around their smart device for them.
I hear a commercial on the radio all the time for a service called Consumer Cellular, and apparently you can get just phone, you can get phone and text, you can get phone and internet, you can use pretty much any phone that you've got, and you can keep your cell phone. It's kind of like a senior citizens discount, but I don't think it's just for senior citizens. I think anybody can get it, and they claim that they use the same towers as what they say in the commercials, one of the biggest guys. So I mean that's might be an option if you're just looking for a telephone to carry around with you.
Okay, we'll talk about that in a second so I get the next one going, but I want to get the next one going so I can talk about it while I'm in my thing. But I think that's what Judy is Girl in a Gun. We're going to go find out by typing it into the search engines. I use the duck one, whatever it's called. Is it Go something? No, I forget what this thing's even called.
Go, I think.
Oh yeah, DuckDuckGo, thanks. So I don't use Google anymore and it's not been that big a deal. So here we go. Meet Judy Wells, a Girl in a Gun, San Diego chapter. Like to introduce you to Judy Wells. Let's start with your story, how you got started in a journey. It's been blah, blah, never write about firearms, yet here we are. About 5 years ago, my husband told me that he would like to have a gun in our home. I was a staunch anti-gunner and had never even touched a gun, nor did I want one near me, least of all in our home. We had many, many discussions over the months. In the end, because he was really interested and wanted to learn, I relented. We went to the range and learned together, and I hated it. I couldn't understand why anybody would want to be around firearms. I took lessons, tried to learn the safety rules, and tried to understand what was fun about this hobby. I was visibly upset after most of my lessons, right? So that's the first paragraph of who Judy Wells is. One day, my instructor at discount, blah, 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 brought me the Winchester Qualification Program. This is an NRA program that challenges you to improve your skills incrementally, and you can earn pins and certificates. Well, that was it. I was hooked. All I needed was a challenge instead of just throwing lead down range. Until then, I had only shot with men and with the male instructor, but I really wanted to shoot with women my age and see what issues they were dealing with, such as vision, fear, etc. I started a little club called Girls and Guns with Z's in them, and went in search of a female instructor. I found a woman, Leanne Farmer, who was the facilitator of a group, A Girl and a Gun, AG and AG. I would participate with the group for a long time, only did private lessons with her. I wouldn't participate with the group for a long time and only did private lessons with her. Finally, I was brave enough and started to learn how to shoot and move and work with my firearm outdoors. I began shooting more and with more different groups and learning different skills and methodologies to shooting. Later that year, right, so is that the first year still? I started competing and went to a Girl in a Gun national conference. We just talked about that a little earlier. 400 women from all over the country. Listen to this story and then listen to any douchebag YouTuber sell you more garbage and tell me which is more important to the world, right? The Girl in a Gun national conference, over 400 women from all over the country, all skill levels, come to this conference to learn. So what does it take for 400 women to get off their asses and go to Colorado in the middle of the year in 2021? Oh, an interest in firearms. That's solid. That's like authentic awesomeness right there. That is 2A, right? We have classes where we learn how to shoot for competition, sports, self-defense. You can even shoot from a helicopter. A Girl in a Gun leadership team asked me to start a chapter in San Diego, and the rest is history. Great. So let's dig a little deeper in the story. Has it been an easy path overall? And if not, what were the challenges you've had to overcome? The shooting part, it's been an exciting road. And I would say most of my struggles from starting this sport, shall we say, mature age issues such as vision, mobility, balance, muscular strength, even fast twitch versus slow twitch muscles come into play when you're at a shooting match. Young people can focus on their front sight, the part of the gun you need to focus on when aiming really quickly, and then explosively take off to the next target array. In trap, you have to focus on the clay quickly. I train often and I try to keep up, but hey, we all have our limits. Forming a group, it wasn't a struggle. You'd be shocked at the number of women who want to or to learn to shoot in San Diego. A Girl and a Gun offers so much for so many women. There's something for everyone, no matter what part of the sport you want to learn or the level of your skill. Dude, what the hell? So who would have known that it was easy for a lady who decided to start shooting to then assemble a bunch of other ladies that wanted to start shooting and then become a group of ladies that shoot together? In California, in San Diego. So what should we know? Well, you guys can go read the rest of this. But anyway, that's who she is. Some chick who's just running a group of women in San Diego that go shooting together.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's, I know some people, like I know a few women that shoot and they shoot with a bunch of guys and it doesn't bother them. It's like whatever. And then there's other people that is a big hurdle for them. There's a range back in Michigan. I know my ex went with her mom one time, but they do ladies' night. I think it's a couple times a month, but it's only women instructors, only women participating, and it starts with like a safety class or whatever, like in the classroom if you're super brand new, and then after that they go to the range, and I forget how much it is, but it included like a gun rental and a couple boxes of ammo, and like that semi-private instruction. There's 10 ladies with 3 instructors or whatever, so that's a pretty good ratio. And then, like I said, if you've been there a few times, then you just show up a little bit later. You skip that first classroom part because that's always the same. Keep your finger off the trigger, point it down range, blah blah blah, like safety stuff.
I generally don't approve of community breakdowns, but when it comes to women and firearms, I am a lot more open to that idea because women are different. There's a lot of different social issues, physical issues, emotional issues, security issues, like the lady had mentioned, just natural reflexes and different stuff like that. So I'm really thumbs up for ladies that get out there and get with other ladies to learn and enjoy the shooting sports and the self-defense aspect and all that kind of stuff. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and like the fact that it's happening over and over. Yeah, it's neat. I like it.
Well, you nailed it, G. She went shooting, didn't really like it, tried it again, loved it, and overnight got 400 of her closest friends to join it. I mean, that's amazing.
She participated. No, it was different ladies that started a Girl and a Gun. It is I don't want to give miscredit where credit's due. She joined into Girl and a Gun as an existing. Let me try to. I have to still break it down for just the women stuff, but you've seen the list that I've got. That's like I'm trying to say like the chronological list of all the different gun groups. One of the first gun group. Well, there's gun groups from like the 15 years ago, but one of the first large female groups is Girl and a Gun, and then Judy got into Girl and a Gun. The part with the 400 ladies. I know this year was 400, but I think the last few years have been into the hundreds. So she got into it at some point. I think she was referencing this year's summer event, but I don't know when she started the San Diego chapter. But I remember I put her in because she was on like Riding Shotgun with Charlie, or probably Riding Shotgun with Charlie, and that's why she came on my radar. And then I seen her too. Usually you got to get on my radar like 3 times. Like I have to know your name by seeing you show up, like doing stuff a couple of times. And I was like, oh, damn, she should be on the list or whatever. Like she's doing, and she's beyond just standing there. She's doing like things are, she's responsible for things being done, right? Like she's instigating stuff. So, but the thing is, she didn't start rolling a gun. Why can't I think of, I know what she looks like, Robin Sandoval and the other one, Marianne? No, that's somebody else. Robin Sandoval knows growing a gun. But very similar story. It's just, I didn't want to say Judy started it. I'm pretty sure Judy started it. But whatever.
I got that.
Splitting hairs.
Yeah, it's still her specific story, which you just read there, is still pretty cool. Like, I give her a definite round of applause.
Now, as far as the phone thing, so the thing I like about this concept of this non-Google phone is a botnet. So think about, okay, they talk about 5G, right? And how 5G is going to be a thing, and people should be worried about it because the cell towers are so close together that the cell towers being so close together are going to make it where the location part of your phone, right, where your phone knows where it is not going to be GPS anymore. Instead, it'll be a factor of where the phone is on the network, right? You follow me? So instead of having satellites in space being GPS, figuring out where your phone is, it just knows where it is compared to all the cell phone towers, right? Like I'm 6 foot from this cell phone tower, 600 feet from that cell phone tower. Therefore, triangulation, this is where I am on the planet Earth, right? You with me?
Yeah.
All right. So now imagine how much better it would be if there was a cell phone tower, oh, I don't know, everywhere. Like a cell phone tower on every corner, wherever there's a stoplight, like a traffic light, there's a cell phone tower. And now they could do the math triangulation off of every stoplight where you are, right? How much closer could they tell where you are compared to before? When there was like just cell phone towers, and I'm explaining this poorly. This isn't technically how it is, but I think this works to like get the point across. But back in the day, if they wanted to figure out where your phone was, where you were, they would have to go, you're so many miles from this cell phone tower and you're so many miles from that cell phone tower. So therefore you must be in this 2-block radius. In every movie and every TV show you've ever seen, it's like they're within this 2-block radius, right? Let's get them there fast because as soon as they move, they're not in that 2-block radius anymore, right? So imagine now if that was the case and all of a sudden it's every stoplight, or every traffic light, or every street light, whatever you want to consider, like every, they start putting in so many cell phone towers, so many of these 5G towers that boom, like every stoplight is a way that they can measure how far away you are from that stoplight. So if you're in the middle of nowhere, big deal, right? You're in the mountains, who cares? There's no stoplights around here. But if you're in a city, they're going to know much more precisely where you are, and that matters when you've got how many people in a 2-mile square radius. Before, they just said there's this many marbles in a fishbowl. Now they can say there's this, whatever box of drawers, and these marbles are in these drawers. Like now we know what floor you're on. We know what room you're in, right? At some point, they're being way more aware of where you are on the planet Earth. So you with me? You're like understanding the principle there. It's not so much that like it's the clarity of your signal, it's the other way. It's like when someone wants to look the other way through your phone, how precisely do they know where you are? And I'm using big strokes here.
Yeah.
But now here's the 5G. If every phone was a cell tower, now it's not a permanent fixture that has to be created. Now it's every phone that's on 5G narcs on every phone that's on 5G and keeps track of every phone that's on 5G. So if 500 people walk in a straight line, everyone's in it. If 500 people walk in a circle, everyone's in it. If 500 people go in 5 different directions, everyone's in it. You don't need cell phone towers anymore. You just need the 5G to exist. So that's sort of what botnet is. When you allow the devices to become the network, that's why they're giving you the 5G phones for free. They give you a smart TV for free because they get paid to narc on what channels you watch. You can have this TV for free as long as I can watch everything you're watching. What? you can have the TV for free. Okay, I'll take the TV. Thanks. Like I got this giant TV and it didn't cost me anywhere near as much as my parents' giant TV cost me, right? I must have made a better deal. I'm a better consumer. Or wait a minute, the stuff inside the TV is supplemented by the people who want to know every single thing I do and when. So when they send this to my internet and I change my TV, that data is more important than the $50 extra I would have paid on this TV. When they send me this programming message and I respond, that situation is worth more than the cost of getting the TV in my house. So they gave me the TV at a discount. And that's what 5G is. We want every cell phone to narc on every other cell phone. The best way to do that is give it to everybody for free.
Oh, I mean,
Your 5G.
pretty much already got all that going on now. And
No, you don't. No, now it's the cell phone tower.
Yeah.
Now it's
Well,
you have to build a cell phone tower and look from the cell phone tower at what people are doing. 5G is going to be people are narking on each other and paying to do it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's already going on now, but the 5G is going to make it, like you said, so much more crisp and detailed.
It's going to take it to a level that, well, the reason we exist today is based off of what they did already. So if we are going to take it to a level times 100, then it's definitely going to go, I think it's going to blow right past the, what was the movie where the guy's walking down the hallway and it would be like, you want this thing, or here's your vacation spot and all that kind of crap? Is that Minority Report?
It sounds like that would be right.
You know the movie I'm talking about. Like I think it's going to blow right past that because we're already at the point where it knows if I stand in front of that frozen pizza longer than that frozen pizza. So how hard is it going to be before the phone starts to, before we're not upset with the phone saying, I'll give you 5 cents off this frozen pizza if you quit looking at that one, because that's what'll happen, right? It'll be like, oh, don't buy that one, buy this one. You know, well, don't quit looking at that one, look over here.
The only thing that's really holding them back is getting it small. You know, they know how to do it all. They just got to get it small enough so you can put it in your pocket.
Well, they need 5G so that they get all of us to do it. And then, like I say, whatever the stuff that's creeping us out now is based off of the cell towers being that they have to build them and they have to maintain an actual cell phone tower. The future will be everybody's cell phone is the new cell phone tower. So what they get to play with and what they get to do after that, yeah, is creepy different. So it's not so much. Yeah, you're right. It's not so much smaller. It's just like the number of phones needs to increase, and they need to get everybody onto that 5G team so that nobody puts their phones down. Because what they care about is where we move. They're beyond worrying about what we say on the phone, right? They don't care about that. They want to know where we took our phone and where we're going with our phone tomorrow so that they can put the ad for what we want tomorrow in front of us tomorrow. And that's real easy to figure out because most of us do the same thing over and over all the time, right?
Yeah, and the phone is the optimal way to do it because what else are you going to give 350 million people to carry around with them at all times? You know,
we're going to
take away 50 million
$100 a month.
Babies. What's that?
And we're going to pay them like $150 a month for the opportunity, right?
Yeah, for them to spy on us.
Well, that's so like the. Oh, sorry. I just want to jump in real quick. That's like this meme I saw, and granted, it was kind of making fun of the conspiracy theory people, saying, "Oh, there's a microchip in the vaccine or whatever." But the post was basically saying, like, it had a screenshot of someone tweeting that, like, "I'm not getting the vaccine because it's got a microchip," and then the subtitle is like, "So you posted this to the public on a phone that tracks your every step, but you're worried about a microchip? Like, they're already carrying one, dude. You don't need to put it in the vaccine. They already have a microchip in your pocket."
Well, plus, I think a lot of those people give the bad guy too much sinisterness. The evil scientist that wants to microchip everybody is smart enough to make a microchip small enough to put in your body and track you all over the planet. He's smart enough to get you to voluntarily take it. You know, there's companies all over the world where they got microchips in their wrist now as a part of their, it's like their badge for work. And those people voluntarily did that. So these evil geniuses are geniuses because they know stuff like that. You know, they're not going to come kick everybody's door down and start giving us all shots with microchips in them. They'll just wait until we voluntarily ask for one.
Yeah, I got creeped out on. I got a new like work phone, and I was looking at the map thing, and not asking at all, not like looking for directions or anything. I just kind of pulled the map up because I wanted to look around town. It's like, oh, did you know it's 20 minutes to like this place? And I'm like, how do you know that I go to that place? Like, I think it was maybe like from work to home or whatever. I'm like, dude, that's creepy. You figured out just by watching me a couple days. Like, this dude goes here every day for a while, and then he goes back here for the night. This must be where he lives. This must be where he works. That's really creepy.
Well, but that's so simple. I mean, seriously, that's so simple. If you know everybody carries their phone around and you know that most of us have like, the typical 9 to 5 type of situation going, or what, there's probably like 12 typical situations probably at most. So all you got to do is like write a logarithm that says, look for a phone that stays at rest, between this 6 hour, 8 hour period, right? And then they know where you're sleeping. And then what time does the phone move the furthest from the original point? When does it stay in the same hover in the same like 100 feet where it would be at home? When does it move the furthest from at home? What I mean? Once it figures out those patterns, we're just sitting here talking. I'm sure they figured that stuff out. Like,
oh yeah,
when they like all together or whatever.
Yeah, I know it's easy. I guess what I kind of failed to mention is they're selling it. This kind of going back on what you said. Like, that is supposed to be a convenient feature. I'm sure a lot of people are like, dude, it's really cool that my phone tells me if there's an accident on a certain expressway every morning, because I don't even have to put in directions. It knows, oh, you're probably going to be driving south on this road in a little bit. There's an accident, maybe take like a side street or whatever. And most people would say, oh, thank you very much, phone. Like, you've given me some convenience. But that is the way that then they get all the info, is you volunteer it because they're helping you in a different way, like your pizza coupon example.
Well, the sniffles that came through, they added that app to people's phones, and people gladly turned them on. So anytime you got next to anybody that was also on that app, your phones would tell each other, hey, that person knows about the sniffles.
Well, that's the crazy part, and that's instead of like like having any apprehension about like where tech and whatever you want to call social control, whatever, like nobody had any apprehension. Instead, they leaned into it, right? Like, oh, good, thank you, thank you, phone.
Every one of those sci-fi movies, they create the artificial intelligence that's going to help humanity live, and it always enslaves us because the best thing for us is for us not to be near each other. You've seen the movies.
Well, yeah.
Are you the documentaries?
The predictions of the future.
If you think of, I listened to one that was like, doesn't matter what the AI is, because if you told an AI, oh, well, here's the thing, we're beyond AI, so we're going to be correct in this. GAI, general artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is what some people are getting rich off of, like single kind of use artificial intelligence isn't really that dangerous because like a car can't reach out with arms, right? But general artificial intelligence would be like emulation of a human, like not just winning the game of chess, but then bragging about it, like being happy that it won the game of chess, right? Like right now, AI can win the chess game over any human, but it doesn't care, right? General AI would have an opinion about its ability to win. So regular AI or whatever, let's say you told regular AI, build a like pork chop factory. And it says, will do, Captain, right? And it starts off to build the pork chop factory. At some point, every piece of resource on this planet would have to be, you know what I'm saying, like working for the pork chop factory. Otherwise, you know what I mean? Unless it wouldn't need to be evil. It would just attempt to put every resource on the planet to work making a pork chop factory because that's what you told it to do. And it's going to try really hard to do that. So I guess, it doesn't need to be evil. It just needs to not be aware. of the big picture. Is that what I said? And it could destroy its host without intention.
Yeah, what I'm thinking is artificial intelligence that knows also how to waste time if it wants to. Because, like you're saying right now, the artificial intelligence we have now, it still has a graph of I've got this task to get done in this most efficient time. Sooner or later, we're going to have artificial intelligence that's like, hey, I got 2 hours to get that done. I'm going to do something else for a little while, and then I'm going to go do this, and I'll get back to that later. You know, kind of sometimes how we have pointless conversations just so we can talk to our friends, kind of thing.
Yeah. When it has like a mind of its own, and it's not just told what to do, basically, or like when it's not no longer satisfied doing what it's told.
Right. Yeah.
I think the big switch will be when it starts getting like creativity, like an AI that can actually make music because it thinks it sounds good, or like do some kind of like drawing or whatever because it looks pretty. Once it learns what that is, I mean, that's humans. So that's when it's already over. We're screwed.
Yeah, when it doesn't have to, when it's going to draw a horse and it doesn't have to check the file on horses first. It just
they can
draws the horse it wants.
They can already do that. We've gone beyond that AI already. It can do that. It just can't be proud of it. But it can already be artistic based on its knowledge of what humans find artistic. Because they've already got AIs that draw and write and make music and all that kind of stuff. But that's sort of like chess. I don't think it's any different than chess.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is it just kind of copying what we tell it looks cool, or is it making what it thinks looks cool?
Yeah, following a formula versus freestyle, true freestyle, making it up as you go along.
Yeah, and I don't know. I just remember I just watched a movie about it. That's all I remember. But I did see a little art, whatever. It didn't look good to me, but sometimes art doesn't look good. It looked like, cause sometimes when you see a gorilla paint something, right? It looked kind of like that, or like a horse or something, like something that doesn't even have a hand. It looked like that. Like it was goofy. It was interpretation type of art, like right. Like you had to like it to like it. And it was just part of a documentary, so it's not like they spent a lot of time discussing the ins and outs of it. But then they played some music that allegedly an AI had written. But it sounded like pop music, so I'm sure it was a logarithm. These are the things that are cool. Sample, basically, right? Take the elements. I guess the AI part is it decides which elements to take, right? It knows what to do. The AI is the part that decides to do it.
Yeah, I remember watching something. It was just a YouTube video, but the channel was trying to get AI to write a song, and it's kind of cool how it does it, right? I mean, it learns and uses kind of like evolution type stuff where it tries to make a song, and then the program, will basically reward or punish based on certain aspects. Like this song sounds good, so you get a reward. So then the program knows to do more things like that. Or this sounds crazy, like you're stupid, and it doesn't want to be stupid, so then it does something different. So that made me think of it. But even still, like the final product, it didn't sound like a human made it. Like it still was kind of weird. And again, it's just like copying. It's only as good as the data fed in. So if the person fed in, 100 different types of songs, then it just, made something that was a copy of pieces of 100 different songs.
And I'm sure that like if they tried to say like it's not just technically a smart sampler, it probably went, okay, the melody of this song, or like this, whatever the words are, like the sequence of that song. So it didn't have to like literally press play and record and rewind or nothing, but it probably was like smart enough to go, okay, like this is the gist of this, and I can do something similar without actually using the notes. Like that's probably how they get it to be what AI, instead of just like I say, like just sort of a smart sampler.
Right, and that's I'm trying to remember exactly, but I'm pretty sure it kind of figured out like there should be some kind of drum beat in the background. Like it learned to go like boom tap, boom boom tap, and it's like I'll just do this for the rest of the song. I don't have to think about that anymore. and then it tried to do like different sounds, like the melody and the rhythm part, like guitar, bass, and that kind of stuff. But there was, now that I'm saying that, there was this other one where they specifically tried to make the computer sound like a certain artist. Like I think they did a Jimi Hendrix one, they did a Nirvana one, and something else. And it simulated the voice as well. You know, you've seen that, right? The deep fake, where computers will basically be able to match someone's voice. But that too, it wrote its own song. Like it took words that Nirvana says a lot and goes, oh, these must be the types of things I'm supposed to say. And then it sounded pretty darn close. But again, that's copy. That's not because they liked it. Like it's still not, you know, general artificial intelligence yet.
Doesn't it ultimately come down to a dependence? I mean, I'm sitting here thinking about all the things that we're dependent on, all the intelligence and technology and advancements and stuff that pretty much everybody's dependent on to get through their day and to survive and all that kind of stuff now. And it kind of makes me think of like an alcoholic or a drug addict or something, you know. Not in the same, you know what I mean, in the philosophical way, I guess. So maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But it seems like,
well, if you're talking about tech, I mean tech in general.
The more dependent we become on the tech, the worse it's going to be for us in the long run.
I think they've already determined, I mean, if you're talking tech in general, but like phones specifically or something like that, like I think they've already figured out that that it's super addictive, right? Like they literally built the stuff to be the same triggers and stuff as what gambling or drugs and stuff.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was going at with that.
Yeah, and that too, like kind of going back to what we were talking about before, where it's like you told the thing, hey, build a factory, and it's just trying to build the best possible. That's exactly what happened with Facebook when it basically told the algorithm, get people to click on stuff, like get people to comment and get people to look at this website 20 million times a day. And just, it's partly, you know, it's not the computer's fault, it's human nature, but they figured out if they show you different articles or different points of view that you strongly disagree with, then you're going to start arguing with, you know, some crazy uncle or whatever that you happen to follow. And they're going to show you more of his posts and less of the posts of your friends where you're just like, oh, that's neat. Like, not comment on it. Like, just look at a picture or whatever. And that's one of the reasons why.
Sorry to interrupt you, but are you saying that's something you came up with, or you've heard of that somewhere?
No, I've heard that. I didn't invent that.
Yeah, no, that's true. Like,
do you remember where you heard that? Because I have not heard that, and that sounds a hell of a lot like, to summarize it, if I heard it right, that's suggesting that the tensions in the world today are not so much a result of the inevitable human hatred of each other, but potentially instead either intentionally or unintentionally created by a simple entity attempting to accomplish a task, in this case, get more views with your memberships online. So in other words, am I understanding that right?
Yeah, basically, it figured out you are more likely to comment, and then the other person will comment to your comment. You'll like, it'll be a long conversation chain if the two of you disagree on the topic.
They got the Amazon inventory of topics and news articles to throw in front of you, but they watch you for 15 minutes and know that this guy and his Uncle Bob hate each other whenever fish fries come up. So I've got 100 different articles I could give them, but we're bored today or we're needing some extra views. So let's show them both fish fries. And if we show this guy this fish fry and that guy that fish fry, boom, that starts it. And now, you know, oh, great, we got Uncle Bob pissed off. Now we know Aunt Emma's going to get, you know, go over to her niece's page and she's going to do this. And then a manipulative enough thing that's got enough reach would figure out chains of events, right? It would go, oh, well, if I do this, if I did it 3 times, well, now I'm going to trigger this event. And then boom, that'll create a cascade of, people reacting over here. And then if the outcome is a riot, well, it's like, you never told me not to make a riot. You just said to give me views, right?
Right. Yeah, it's definitely, I'm going to lean towards it's an unintentional consequence. I don't think they did it on purpose, but I've experienced it. Like I did kind of notice it myself. And then when I heard someone say it, I go, oh, that's exactly right. And this is back when I worked a couple companies ago, and I would cruise on the internet and look at Yahoo News, which I don't know, no one uses Yahoo anymore, but whatever. And I noticed after a little bit of time, all of the articles were Huffington Post and Moms Demand Action, because those were the ones that I would read and go, look at these stupid people. And then I'd comment on it going, this is why you're wrong. And these are the stats and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, wait a minute. When did, like, how come I don't get the hockey scores anymore? It's because I'm more likely, and it's my fault as well. Like, I'm more likely to click on a Bloomberg article so that I can go yell at them than I am to check the scores from last night. So pretty quickly, it learned I'll get more views if I show this guy a bunch of anti-gun stuff, because then he clicks through and then he goes and looks at the related links, and you fall down that rabbit hole. I've never had a Facebook, but from how it was described, it sounds like Facebook kind of does the same similar thing.
I like Yorkies. I think they're my favorite dogs, and I made the colossal mistake when I first got on Instagram of typing Yorkies in the little search bar, and it was about 3 or 4 weeks of every single recommended photo was a Yorkie. It was crazy. It was like 3 or 4 weeks before it finally went away, and I started getting back to like.
And then most of us forget about that. And then when we get fed whatever the story is, we forget that it's feeding us based off of its like eager need to fulfill our whatever immediate taste, like not our nutrient necessities, or like, our what would value us as a whatever. It's like what we're craving at the moment, and it's just gonna immediately off the bat, right?
Oh yeah, it's giving us sugar like all day, every day, and not giving us meat and potatoes. Because to be fair, if you got a steak sitting there and you got some cookies, you're more likely to grab a couple cookies and then take off. Like it knows we want sugar, and just a little fast. Okay, give me a little more. Let me down a pixie stick real quick, and then I got to go back to work.
Now, going back to that light phone thing, so I'm definitely going to look into that, because I've been one of my goals is to quit carrying around even my 4G phone and go back to some older tech, so that I'm off of their grid, so to speak. They're not using me as a piece of data, and I'm not part of the little BS botnet. And that seems like an interesting option. When Foss is talking about the e-reader screen, I did see something. There's always been like some sort of a tablet. Well, for a long time now, there's been some sort of little tablety things that you can make notes or draw on, or maybe like a kid's Etch-a-Sketch type of thing, but like some sort of a simple version of a drawing tablet that have always kind of been around for people that are like sketching, or for maybe like a specific industry or something. But I did see an ad for it where it wasn't like a normal screen like we're used to seeing a piece of glass. It looked like a piece of plastic or something. It just looked like opaque, like a white piece of plastic. But when you draw on it, what's not an Etch-a-Sketch, but I guess it's kind of like an Etch-a-Sketch. But back in the olden days, they'd give you this piece of plastic sheet on top of like wax or something, and you would draw on it, and it would make black appear on the sheet. And when you got all done, you would lift it up, and it would make.
Yeah, I had those things. It's basically just like an Etch-a-Sketch. It just works on the magnetization or whatever with that little pen that you have. I had a bunch of those as a kid.
Well, no, not that kind. Not the kind with the magnet. I'm talking the kind where it's like just a piece of wax or something on the back, and then you draw on the front, and it squishes into the wax, and you can see it through the paper. But then when you're done, you lift up the piece of not paper, but like plastic-ish film, and then you just had like a plastic crayon-looking thing that you draw on that with. Anyway, the thing I've seen is it's basically like an Etch-a-Sketch, except that you draw, and it's just whatever who cares how it happens, but I'm saying what appears on the thing, which is, I guess, a tablet. It's not a reader because you can write on it, and it isn't a smartphone because you wouldn't be able to see a website on it. But you know, like it would just be like an Etch-a-Sketch. It would go from whatever color Etch-a-Sketch is, like tan or gray or whatever that color is. You know, then there'd be a black line on it, except that you could draw the black line. So that's, I don't know what it's called, and you know, I don't have any money, so it's not like I'm buying it, but I saw that and I was like, dang, that looks really cool, because it looks like you're drawing on paper, but instead of drawing on paper, you're drawing on this weird screen, and then you can do stuff like a smartphone, like there's buttons on it, and you can tell it like copy and paste or whatever, and like save, and then you can draw something else, and then it would zip over to your computer, and you could do stuff with it. It was mostly for like to replace a piece of paper, though. It wasn't like a smartphone or like a fancy drawing like what I'm doing here. It's just like a pencil and a paper. Anyway, if it was that kind of screen on a phone, even though it's weird and old, I'd be down, because I don't care about the battery. I don't need to see an internet on my phone all the time because I have phones for that. But the one I want to carry around, I don't need to see the internet on. I don't know. Do you guys think that at this point, for whatever reason, you could walk around without a smartphone anymore? Or would you just got so accustomed to a smartphone, you'd always want a smartphone around?
Yeah, I'm pretty used to the smartphone. I mean, I think if I had to, I'm not going to die without it. But I mean, I've noticed myself. I used to, you think back, like as a kid, you used to have to sit in a doctor's office or wherever, and you could just keep yourself busy, like just looking at stuff. Now, if I have to wait more than 2 minutes for like an elevator or whatever, my phone's out of my pocket. Like I gotta go look at Instagram for these next 30 seconds because I'm bored. Like when did that go away? Like I don't know. That's kind of why I like going up north. I shut my phone off. I'm up there for a couple of days, like just in the middle of the woods, and it kind of takes you back. Like I'm a firm believer in shutting the thing off at least for a while. Like you got to refresh your brain.
Well, you got to refresh it. We're old enough to we understand what you're saying. I think the new ones, the new kids, the youngins, they don't know what it was like. So they don't have a refresh. They're going to figure out at some point they're going to turn off of their phone and they're going to be like, oh shit, that was cool. Right. And then they're going to come back and be like, hey, everybody, I'm shutting off my phone for a month every year, or like once a week, for, whatever their stupid pattern's going to be. But they're going to come up with like dipping their toe in the water of not having their phone. So I think it's a pendulum swing, right? Like we're like, uh-oh, we have our phones too much. Oh, well, like we already had our phone. Like we know what it's like to not have a phone. Let's see what it's like to have a phone too much. Like, you know what I mean? Like they've only ever had a phone too much. I think they're going to potentially relish, like value the idea of not having a phone. And when that happens, Facebook's useless. Like Facebook only works because our parents are using it and we've used it, and because some of our children are using it. But when all of our children figure out that they don't even need a phone, that they can, just like they don't need to go to work every day, they don't need a phone to tag around with them, they can do their Instagram at home later, then all that stuff becomes less powerful, right? Less clingy to our lives or whatever. Because right now they're living off of what they're learning off of us. I guess talking AI, there's some implication of once the AI, the big brains learn what we do, like learn way more detail about what we do, then who knows what they're going to do with that data. But since the world keeps changing, that's data with a lifespan, right? That's perishable data because it won't work you could know every single thing about what we did in the 80s and it's useless to you today, right? You could know everything what we did in the 90s and it's useless to you today. You could literally know everything we did 4 years ago, literally, and it would almost be useless to you, right? Because the world changes so quickly almost.
Yeah.
We're also getting ready to go into space. So once you start going into space and people are on Mars and stuff, there might be a whole nother level of appreciation for being offline.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to use this topic to segue and make my goodbyes. So nice chatting with you guys.
Yeah, thanks for jumping in.
Take it easy.
So I started getting off topic there and not drawing, which is what I designed or came in here to do. So let's see what else we got. So we've got Melody Lauer. We got Alec Carey and the FPC lawyers. Let me get this guy from my screen now. There. And then this one and this guy. I do this guy next. You watch any of this guy's stuff?
No, I've never seen him before.
Oh, really? You don't watch FPC, the firearms policy?
No, I've seen a couple of their videos. Never seen that guy, I don't think. But I've only seen maybe 5 or 6 of their videos ever.
So it's tough to know what FPC even is. That might be interesting, actually, just go around asking people what's FPC, what's GOA, what's Second Amendment Foundation, and listen to people's answers. But there's this guy. He's named Floodbuster. There's this guy, and he's named Armed Scholar. Like he has a YouTube channel named Armed Scholar, and this guy has his own YouTube channel named Floodbuster. And then this guy is just on FPC. And when he comes on, he says, I'm the least known lawyer of the firearms policy, right? And so that gave me the impression that there's more than one lawyer, right? And then I forget one of the 3 of them, I think, or maybe somebody else, but I think it was one of them 3, made a video when they first all 3 started doing these videos, and which was, I think, the beginning of last year, or like right before all the bullshit started. Like the bullshit kind of interrupted it all, but it was like they were getting ready to lead up to the election, basically. And so it would have been 2 years ago. So I don't know, maybe a year ago, I think, is when they started this initiative of having the individual lawyer contributions be either separate videos or, included, I guess, in the bigger project. But it's interesting because they said somewhere that the Firearms Policy Coalition is a group of lawyers with the mission of rights, human rights. And so with that being said, instead of being just a bunch of figureheads, or I don't really know, the other organizations don't pick famous people, but they pick people who have accomplished things, like Rachel Malone in Texas for GOA. She had been effective, like she had done things and then went to school, was successful, and got a job, and then was fired from her job because of because of her gun experience or because of her gun involvement. And GOA brought her on the team because she had proven herself. But aside from that, every other organization or person that's a member of an organization that I'm aware of, at least, is just somebody who they knew or somebody that got hired for the job. But none of them came with like some time on the clock or any kind of qualification other than knowing somebody or being hired. So the FPC, I don't know how that is handled or who they even are, but according to that video, they're a group of lawyers who are dedicated to human rights or whatever, or some bigger thing than just guns, but guns are included. And obviously guns are a big part, but I get the impression that it's just a bunch of lawyers. So it's interesting that they're I won't say figureheads, because they're not like their spokespeople, they're not their figureheads, but the people who represent them are them, and they are lawyers. So it's just different hearing actual lawyers tell you stuff instead of people who are like, this is something that a lawyer could tell you. A lawyer would be know more about this.
Well, it also depends on what kind of lawyer you are. I mean, if everyone's just attorneys making sure that people's finances are straight, then they're not really. I mean, I'm just making generalizations but there's a million different types of lawyers out there.
No, that's a great point. Now, that be said, they got Al Capone with tax things, so you never know while something might be applicable. But you're right. If you're like a lawyer, fucking whatever, I don't know, the equivalent of a lawyer seamstress or something that has nothing to do with guns, then yeah, you might not really be bringing much to the table other than the numbers of your name.
You'd have to have a good mixture, because you need, like you said, you need a tax attorney to make sure you don't go to jail for taxes. You probably don't need a litigator because you're not going to end up in criminal court.
Right. So, like some skill sets like that might not even apply to what we're doing, or like be all that useful necessarily, like on the surface, or even useful at all. I don't know how lawyers work though, and they all seem young too. So no matter what kind of lawyer they are, how much time on the clock they got can only be so much if they're young, right? Like you could be the best lawyer ever, but if you're 25 years old, you can only have so much experience as a 25-year-old lawyer. Right?
Yeah, I mean, that's as factual as you can possibly get. I mean, some people would argue, oh, it doesn't matter if he's really, really smart. Yeah, but he hasn't had that life lived experience and hasn't met every judge and all that other kind of stuff. So,
Yeah, because it's one thing to like excel at the knowledge or the like debates in amongst your peers or something, but the first time like they pull one of the like, well, we're gonna make everybody come back tomorrow. Everybody's gonna come back tomorrow. Everybody's gonna come back tomorrow for like 3 weeks, and you miss some kind of hang gliding trip, and all of a sudden you leave the you know the whole game because it's too tedious. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you were great, except you never even showed up.
yeah.
Although I'm not speaking from experience, I can't think of that happening anywhere. Maybe it has. I don't trust hang gliders.
No, they seem pretty shady to me.
Like in an airplane, you know.
Just keep your feet on the ground.
That's true. Like, what do you got to be flying for? What are you trying to prove? What are you trying to get away from so quickly? I don't think this looks like this dude at all. You know what this looks like? That one dude who was like short, and he was in it might have been Empire set of Star Wars figures, but he might have been the first one.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
I'm drawing a Star Wars figure. Definitely doesn't look like this guy.
That's funny.
If I put like this, it would be that guy from that Star Wars figure, I'm pretty sure.
Yep. Absolutely.
I'm just going to hope that once I color his beard in, it won't look exactly like that Star Wars figure anymore, and people won't have listened to this, and no one will be like, that guy just drew a Star Wars figure and called it a lawyer from FBC.
Check your email for a cease and desist letter from Steven
Yeah,
Spielberg.
exactly. I'm like, Hasbro, what are you doing? On our Star Wars figures on your shit. And now he's got like a 4th grade Jewish shirt. Like, I just fucking drew angles and then a circular thing. Like, okay, I guess I could draw a little bit better.
That's a lot better than that, man.
I'm like, dang, he ends up he has no neck. This dude just goes straight from jowl to shoulder. Never noticed that. Nobody else in the world does that. Just this guy. Either he that or he hunched over for this picture, but I'm screwed. He's just his neck literally goes from over here to over there. There's nothing I can do about it. So you got a giant neck, dude. There, it's done. All right. If you're a Patreon and you got a problem with it, I'll listen. Everybody else can go fight it. Here we go. No, now we got to put this on and get the colors. Everybody
Barely
just,
use the mouse. They click on a website address, so I could never do this.
dude, I hate using a mouse, but I've tried a couple of times. I bought like, there's pens that you can use like a pencil in your hand, right? And then you just swipe it on this like little plasticky grid thing, and then it's supposed to be like a fancy tablet for drawing. But I keep buying like the $30 version. Like I bought a $20 version a long time ago when they first came out, and I was like, oh, this would be so cool if I could afford a real one. This would be awesome. But it was like, you can imagine, like a $20 version years and years ago was very shitty. And then I don't know how long ago, maybe last year, it wasn't that long ago. I was like, you know what? I'm going to buy another cheap one just to see, because maybe sometimes cheap stuff gets really good. So I was like, I'm going to buy another cheap one just to see. And it was like exactly the same garbage. And I'm like, dang it. Like, it still sucks. And it's just right there. It's like, oh, you want to learn to drive a Ferrari? No problem. Let's go drive this mail truck. Like, damn it. I'm driving, but it isn't what I wanted to be driving. And that's sort of what this mouse is like. So if you weren't watching me and I was just sitting here by myself, I could throttle it down and be better, like make the mouse more accurate, I guess, so that it would be really slow to move the mouse thing around. Like I have to move the mouse all around the table just to do what I'm doing right now. But that allows it to be really accurate. I guess that's how the kids play the video games. And it would just take way longer to do this. So I don't do that. Plus, it doesn't make it any better. It just makes it take way longer. So
Well,
it looks exactly the same when I'm done.
I'm glad that you brought that up because I've got at Walmart. It's called the Black Web. It's just like a little generic mouse that I use for my laptop here. And if I click the button on top of it, the cursor will start moving really, really slow. And I've never understood what that was for. But now that you just told me,
Oh, yeah, yeah. I don't know what the kids do in video games. Probably it'd be lame or something. But in real life, like here, like see my mouse wiggling around? It's working on the screen, right? You can see it. I'm
Yeah.
going to throttle. I'm going to go through the throttle. Here's one up, and then here's two up. Like you can't even see this. I'm going across my giant monitor. It's useless, really. Now I'm going to go down, and now you can actually see the mouse, and then down and down, and eventually, is that as low as it'll go, or is it cycling through? I think it's cycling through, but it'll get to so slow that I can't even. Like I say, you would be bored watching me. It would take me like an hour to toss out his beard. Um, and I think you know where else you use it in drawing. What do they call it? CAD cam. You know, if you're going to draw like an engineering thing, like if I was drawing something that mattered what size, like you can scroll in and out. And,
points.
yeah, and for like making an engineering drawing, you'd want to be precise, and for that, it's that's what that's for. So basically, typical mouse I think are like in the 7,000, whatever the number is, and then like a decent mouse might be what is it 7,000? A decent mouse might be like 11 or something, and then I think this mouse is 24. So it's like a lot more than a regular mouse, and then like the most insane mouses go to like 72. And I figure I barely use this one all the way, so I don't need a bigger one. And this mouse, and I don't know what those numbers even are, like pixels per inch or something, but or dots per inch or something. But price wise, the mouse I'm using cost me like $22. So it's slow and everything. Like it can do what I need it to do, but it doesn't cost anything. It's still a very inexpensive mouse, I think. And it's got all kinds of dumb buttons I don't use, like that do stupid shit. I don't know what they do. I can probably tell the buttons to do things, but it's not so many buttons that they're in my way either. Like I can ignore them easily enough. Every once in a while, I'll touch one accidentally and something will turn orange. And I'll be like, damn it, one of my buttons is plugged in to turn things orange. But yeah, nice. I use a corded mouse, so that's why it's $22. I don't go with the cordless stuff. That would probably be more money. But I use my mouse every day. I don't have time to wait around for it to charge ever. But I don't think any of these are going to pick. I guess that's kind of the color. Maybe a little lighter. Ah, nope, it's not that color. That's the color it is now. I'm talking about my side. I don't even know where I'm at with color. CAD Cam uses space mouses. Is a space mouse meaning you don't have to be on the table? I had a mouse for a deck, a DEC, something. I think that's a digital equipment. DEC, I think, digital equipment company. And it did not. It's not like a regular mouse. It's more like it looks like a compass. It's like a plastic thing with whatever and a cord coming out, and you put there's like in the plastic thing there's little crosshairs, and that's where your mouse is pointed on these little crosshairs. So if you wanted to draw like on a piece of paper on your desk, you could easily do that with this mouse. It was pretty neat. Although you could probably do that with any mouse. You just have to glue a toothpick to your mouse.
All right, Mr. G Bubs, I gotta get rolling. I gotta get dinner made and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, thanks for jumping by on a Sunday. Do you got is Rich's show tonight?
Yeah, Rich should be doing a show about like 8:30 ish, something like that. And
Because I don't know what time it is. Like half an hour, 20 minutes, 2 hours. What are we talking?
Rich, he does like 2.5 hours. He usually goes until
No, I
midnight.
mean, sorry, from now. Like, is it?
Oh, it's 5:30 Eastern now. So 8:30 Eastern.
Oh, okay. So in a while. Oh, is that
Yeah.
after Locked and Loaded then?
Yeah, Locked and Loaded comes on, Foreign and Domestic comes on, and then I think that's the only gun chats that are on.
Okay, right on. So yeah, thanks for jumping in, and we'll be around on that one.
All right, man. You have a good day. Always good talking to you.
All right. So with that, we had the links out there. Is this thing recording? Yeah, this thing's recording. So then I'm not going to drop the link, but if you want, you can go find the link, and then we'll go back and check the comments in a bit here. I'm just going to go ahead and do this because I can and because I just did. And now we'll make his beard. Oh no. So next we'll come up here, and so basically I always just go around the mustache part of the beard and then go down like this. And then the trick is to do down, kind of an up and down in sort of that weird shape. And then when you take that and cookie cutter them with this, now he's got that hole in his face. And then you can do this and grab off of there. And now he's got that. Yeah, kind of looks like him. He has some sort of weird thing coming down over here. So we'll go to this and in and move that up a little bit. Get rid of this. Get up there. Lock that one. Unlock that one. Grab. Oh, lock that one. Unlock that one. And then grab this. And this. And that. Now we have to go back to this one. And bring that guy up. So that was all with this little solid triangle. So you can hit those transforming tools. All right, that mouth doesn't work, so we'll go to there and more. Nope, the same exact thing. So more there. That'll work. And put some in here. We'll do something like this. And that'll be done. And then maybe something with his nose. Get rid of this color. Not unlock it, but get rid of it. And then maybe that. Part of the trick when you start playing with Illustrator is when you draw like that little thingy there, that little guy, there's a lot of curve in it, and that's because you're dropping and you created those handles, and then you're dropping and you're creating these handles as you drop. So you can get a lot of change, that curve is a lot different than that curve, right? You can get a lot of change in how you drop those. So that can be, I don't know, a challenge, but an element, and that's one of the elements I end up playing with mostly. Wrong. Where am I at? Where'd this guy go? Here. So put the stuff back in, not that guy, this color, there, and not one of my best. Not one of my best. But I'm not really getting paid to do this. I'm just doing it. So now we're going to go to here, and then here, and then here. We'll click on another layer, and there. And now we have a second layer in there. And what we're really doing here is filming these. So stop that recording. And once you stop that recording, you need to go to the file it created, which it's still creating. I just stopped it. It's now creating that. Rendering it, I guess. And now that it's rendered, I can not open it so much as rename it. So click twice and so I just name them each one so that I know what they are. I don't have to watch each video to know what it is. And since I'm creating it right now, that allows me to is that efficient? I don't even know. I think it's efficient. All right, we'll see if anybody's saying anything. No tours coming up. Nope. I'm hoping to keep the ban, but no tours. Legal action hotline. The hotline in our legal action programs is to find out legally sufficient issues and bring cases that defend and advance fundamental rights and individual liberty. Is that the FPC? It's probably the FPC legal hotline. Just keep your actual smartphone in your car and either swap the SIMs or hotspot. Yeah. There's lots of strategies, and that would work for some things for sure. But yeah, that would work. Phones that are phone games that program to program and interact with the intervals that keep you locked in with your work. That part is also creepy. I've played a phone game before, and I don't know. I was playing phone games with my parents basically as a way to keep them on the phone and do stuff with them. But then the game kept doing that, like manipulating. And I'm like, I'm not interested in this. I'm not gonna monitor the damn game. And I'm not gonna be required, be hindered basically because I'm not monitoring the damn game. And yeah, it gets creepy. I didn't play very many of them, but you can tell from the ads how creepy they are, from the ads for the games themselves. And then after watching a few documentaries where they bring up that stuff, it's not accidentally happening, that's for sure. All right, so how long have we been going? I guess 2 hours. I don't know how many of these things I got done. Not enough, probably. They take me like 5 minutes, so I should have hundreds of them done at this point. So that was the FPC hotline. All right, well, I'm probably corking somebody at this point. I really was just doing this to prove a point. I'm desperate for attention and other reasons. Mainly just getting sick of the bullshit, and I figured I'd draw a couple of these and chat a little bit. So let's go look at the internet and see what's actually happening out there. No, I'm not being corked. Looks like G23 just threw up a video. He's one of only 2 people that have sent one of them patches out in the last, I don't know, 7 years. Posted a video about that, it looks like. Otherwise, I've watched everything or not watched everything that's in that list. There's this one. And what's this going on with Clover? Is this today? Is he trying to cork me right now? 23. Will the Texas House finale pass ICHPA in 1927 Texas constitutional carry? Look, Clover can't even make a sentence that makes any sense. It says makes no sense. 3 hours? 3 hours? Is he trying to cork? He's trying to cork locked and loaded? What a son of a bitch. What an asshole. Is he corking locked and loaded, or is he not corking them? Let's find out when locked and loaded is going on. Is he son of a bitchin'? Let's see if we can find them on here. I don't see them on here yet. So we'll go down over here. Where they at? Where they at? Where they at? Where they at? Am I missing it? Am I missing it? There it is. You can go to videos. You gotta go to uploads. Oh, they don't even have an upcoming one. We don't even know when they're gonna do their show. But there's Clover Quarking him. Clover Quark. All right, well, so he's having a watch party, I guess, in 3 hours. Live at 9 p.m., the conference committee report is finally out. Oh, I guess that they're going to be actually watching something that's not at his scheduling direction. I'd never heard of government doing anything on a Sunday night, though. Or is this tomorrow? No, it's tonight. I think there's something really fishy about this. Really fishy about this. Are you saying that Clover is the one who manipulated the Texas judiciary into even coming up with this whole thing so that he could make an elaborate series of videos? Is that what you're saying? I'm just saying there's been an elaborate series of videos. Clover's the one raking in all the money on it. And Texas still doesn't have constitutional carry. We don't have any idea when Locked and Loaded's happening. Wait a minute, what did that say? That was 7 months old, so it probably doesn't, probably not relevant to today. All right, well, I guess with that, you can also watch Rich White does the, what does he call his show on Sunday? Some sort of a show on Sunday. It's an unloaded media. And then evidently Clover tried to hork in on the Sunday situation with Texas. Never enough drama in Texas. So we'll meet everybody back for that later. If you got ideas for cartoons, we have the other FBC lawyer and the other FBC lawyer still coming. Ken Hackathorn. Don't know who he is, you're an idiot. We got Anthony, it's that guy. We got, I might redo Chris Chang. Does this look like Chris Chang? And then How I Carry. I don't know what her name is. This dude from Gun Culture 2.0. Melody Lawyer. And that's it. That's all I got on my list. So I'm close to being done with this slew of them. And then we'll be adding them to the project, and then we'll come up with some more at some point. So with that, 81% of the people watching is DJ, and nobody else has said anything. So therefore, probably lurking trolls. Well, Urswell's out there. That's a real person. Kingpin left, so he's not one of them. Vanessa Kitty, well, might be still out there. Golden Grandpa might be still out there. But otherwise, probably lurking trolls. Working off of us, working off of our ideas. You don't have anything coming up until Locked and Loaded and Clover and Rich White. And then tomorrow, Clover and Guns for Everyone. And if you like Matt. Oh, look at this. Boom. Knew it. All right, thanks everybody for showing up. I will continue to do this off the air. There's links out there. If you want to come in, then we'll do it. Otherwise, I'll close this room also.